I'm the doctor, by the way. What's your name?
Rose.
Nice to meet you, Rose. Run for your life.
One day after a shooting in Messina that killed one person and left another in the hospital, the neighborhood is coming together two graves.
So I get high,
27-year-old shot, stomach and killed 27-year-old Carmisha Rogers.
so I get my niggas won't change in them no. Even if I get famous, I swear the music I'm making, they feeling me now. I guess I got some type of history now. Okay, a young nigga live in effect. What? Be silent, protecting my craft. Listen, dividing real riches with all of my niggas, and we are just working on math. Suddenly shit is just adding up, and I'm feeling bad. Shit, I can fuck and puff. Puff, passing in a two-seater, white bitch gon' blow me like a Reefer Franklin. I'm about money, frankly, it's the conversation. She keep hating, I keep loud in rotation, won't fuck with her. If she too basic, my memory of yesterday are gone. And I'm sitting here with these old thoughts, and I'm hoping time really don't fly. And I take my last toes off. Won't even talk about you marking niggas who flows bought and I don't buy. Don't ask me if I fuck with her, then deep for pizza.
Man, I hit the blunt yesterday, then I ashed it, thinking about the better days. Shit was classic. I pray to God just survive. Man, I wish I could fly. Man, I wish I could fly. So I get high, so high. Man, I wish I could fly. Man, I wish I could fly. So I get high, so high. Man, I wish I could fly. Man, I wish I could fly.
Second murder there this year, and new tonight we uncovered stats that show that it's the most dangerous part of the city.
24-hour News' Heather Walker has been talking with the people who live there to find out why there is so much crime.
Look, yo, Aaron, what's going on? A lot changed since you been gone. See my mama holding on. Don't need a gym to be strong. I won't lie, I've been drinking, and yes, I have been smoking more. I'm not really proud. It's that loud. It's hard to ignore. Thinking about the moments we had ran from the police. Lord, forgive my sins. I'm blessed for all that you have done for me. Like babies, they want to rock Aaron's crib and put him asleep. Fuck whatever it is, you know that you can count on me. And my dog Dave, man, how have you been? You still rapping and putting it on? When you deploy, pray that you making it back, cause we all need you back home. I miss all of my soldiers and all the soldiers who gone. And I ask myself how this happened, can I miss pain with an aspirin? Man, I hit the blunt yesterday, then I ashed it, thinking about the better days. Shit was classic. I pray to God just survive. Man, I wish I could fly. Man, I wish I could fly. So I get high, so high. Man, I wish I could fly. Man, I wish I could fly. So I get high, so high. Man, I wish I could fly. Man, I wish I could fly.
It's gotten worse because more kids are picking up guns. I don't understand why they want to keep their lives because when they get caught.
High Tide Stick Radio wants to remind you not to do anything stupid when you're using marijuana. You know, like get busted by your parents. You're on High Tide Stick with the Doc MistaTre, live Monday through Friday from Tampa Bay. Yeah. That's right. We are live from Tampa Bay. You are on High Tide Stick live with the Doc MistaTre. Good morning. How y'all doing out there on the West Coast? It's 7 a.m. on the West Coast, 10 a.m. on the East Coast. And of course, we are punch drunk, tired because we've been watching the Republican National Debate coverage, then the post coverage, and then the re-coverage, and on and on and on, and coverage on coverage on coverage on coverage on coverage. In order to prepare, of course, for you guys here. You know, definitely an interesting debate, I'll say that much. Absolutely winners and losers in that debate, as I alluded to on Facebook prior to the show coming on. There is a lot to this debate. There's a lot to this debate. It's an interesting little situation and a wonderful caveat into the future of what we're going to be doing in all next half of the season one, which is covering nothing but the elections. And then, of course, season 2 is going to be election season. I mean, we kick off season 2 at the beginning or at the end of September of 2016, and we're looking at going right into the political season, driving home right in. So we've got a lot going on. I mean, we even got business cards ordered. Shout out to Kelly. Well, hey, Kelly from Montgomery LTD. I'm telling you, shout out to her. She's a property preservation management company owner, and she's been helping me with some of my business stuff out here in Florida. So shout out to her, of course, as well. Appreciate you, lady. Other than that, we're going to get straight to it and get on the clock. So last night, as you guys know, the Republican national debate, it was actually really interesting. I mean, there were some moments that really cracked me up. There were some highlights. There were some lowlights. There were some no lights, and definitely a lot that we can talk about in that debate. So we're going to definitely get to that. That is for sure. Again, absolutely interesting. The debate was. We're also going to be talking about how the Phoenix New Times.com is reporting Obama's new drug czar prefers oppression for cannabis users. And then we're going to get into, of course, a couple of other stories. Of course, this one from High Times Magazine: Palm Beach County votes to decriminalize pot possession. And so we're going to talk about that because, of course, you know, that affects us here at home. And so, and I think that you guys are going to find it interesting. But in Florida, you know, county by county, they're starting to decriminalize marijuana. I'm hoping that Pinellas County will do the same. I don't know that it'll be there. Kentucky lawmakers submit a bill to legalize marijuana, the marijuana industry or cannabis industry statewide. Definitely something that we're going to be, we're going to hit on that story as well. And that one coming to us from High Times Magazine as well. So absolutely just a butt ton of news to cover today. And that on top of, that in itself, the Republican debate, that is definitely a lot to talk about there. Some of the Quinnipiac polls that contradict what a lot of the candidates said yesterday. And then there's some Quinnipiac polls that really, I don't think the Republicans would want you to see, because they're only telling you about the Democratic numbers. And so, and again, that should be something that bothers you or weirds you out or that you fear, because, you know, as they say, we got to wake up, we got to smell the coffee. It's that time. So, and then of course, last but not least, our final story of the day is, of course, and wait, before we can give you the final story of the day, come on now, drum roll, please. New 2016 pesticide regulations could drastically increase Oregon's pot prices. That'll be the final story of the day today. And so we're going to spend a lot of time, of course, talking about the Republican national debate. We're going to spend some time talking about, again, those cannabis stories, and then what's going on coming up. By the way, episode 50, Christmas Day, we're going to be broadcasting from my kitchen. So it's going to be fun. I'm going to teach you guys how to make bacon wrapped jalapenos. Oh, yeah. Oh, if you don't know about bacon wrapped jalapenos, you better learn something, man. You better tune in on Christmas Day and check it out. We're going to do the show. I'm not sure, but I'm thinking it's going to be around like noon or 1 o'clock in the afternoon for about an hour on Christmas Day, so that no matter where you are or what you're doing, you've already gotten everything done. You've gotten the presents open, the turkey or the ham or both are in. And so you can sit down and you can take a little time to hear me. No, seriously though, but you can take a little time to listen in on the show, and you can learn something. You can learn how to make bacon wrapped jalapenos. We'll be posting it all over the place, including our website, Food Porn. That's of course on Facebook under Food Porn. You'll recognize the picture because it has a straight out of Compton picture, but it says straight out of Food Porn. So the Republican national debate was interesting last night. I think for once it got real though. if I can give you guys a mood point right now that absolutely makes sense to me though, is that it was at least on point. It was at least real. It was at least legit. It was at least, I can keep going. My point being is that it was at least happening on subject, on foreign policy, on the safety of the nation, and so on and so forth. We're going to get to the biggest losers from the debate. We're going to get to the biggest winners from the debate. Of course, it's my opinion. You're more than welcome to chime in. You can message us on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. Just go to High Tide Stick. Send us a message. We check that all throughout the show. So we periodically are trying to check in on you guys and see what you guys are saying, in the world of like this and that and Twitter and all that good stuff. And so just keep in mind that we do check those messages. So, you can always, tag us in a post on Twitter. You can tag us in a post on Facebook, whatever works for you. But that's up to you. It really is up to you. Shout out to Megan Lister, Colorado Springs. Gonna check out the show today for the first time. That's what's up. Appreciate the support, by the way. And of course, shout out to all of our viewers and listeners and everybody who has been able to transition over from Periscope. I just want to apologize to you guys until I get a new phone that can have Periscope, because the current device that I have for in the studio that we use for phone calls and whatnot is absolutely incapable of doing really the job we needed to do. So it does not work with the Periscope app, which should tell you how flippin' old it really is. Because it doesn't work with the Periscope app, which bugs the hell out of me, just so you guys know. We got music during the break, of course, and much, 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 much more. So we have a lot going on today. And encourage you guys, of course, stick with us through the show for an hour today. It's going to go from 10 to 11 on the East Coast, and that's, of course, 7 to 8 a.m. on the West Coast. Shout out to the West Coast. Dubs up. What up, Kafali, Oregon, Washington, Arizona, Nevada, Idaho. I'm going to throw you in there, even though you're not on the coast, but you're still part of the West Coast. One state over your West Coast. I mean, do you agree or disagree? But one state over, you're the West Coast. One state over, you're the East Coast. Nobody's stopping Providence from being in the East Coast because Rhode Island's closer to the East Coast. I think Providence is a city, but damn it, Rhode Island, and there's Massachusetts, Rhode Island, there's damn it, what the hell is that other state, the square one? Why am I drawing a blank? I don't know why I'm drawing a blank right now. I feel like an idiot. So let's yeah. Okay, yeah, fail. Got it. Fail. So anyway, regardless, so during the break we'll be playing our favorite Jam 2-piece, Fetty Wap on My Grind. We're gonna get a little bit of Raise Your Right Hand by Disown. And of course, to open the show, we had High Times by Blair Bassard. So shout out to all those fellas out there that we get to use your guys' music. And to close the show, of course, we're going to close the show with Sand Between My Toes, the song that we go to break every break with as well. And so you're going to get used to hearing that song. You can download that song on Reverb Nation, by the way, today. If you want to, just log on, check it out. ReverbNation.com/MistaTre, MistaTre. Shout out to Linear Tattoo, my sponsors for the album. Love you guys, the supporters of the High Tide Stick Show. Love you, love you, love you, love you. And you want to find out how to get some free sponsorship on my show, get a hold of me, contact me. We'll talk about it. Not right now. It's not a place for business. So let's talk about this first story, because I want to get to this first marijuana story before we go to break. We are a marijuana regulation and information show. So we definitely want to make sure that we get that part of the job done right. So first and foremost, we go to Obama's new drug czar prefers oppression for cannabis users. So it says Michael Botticelli, President Obama's new drug czar, said on 60 Minutes that he does not believe in cannabis legalization, deeming it bad public health policy. The hypocrisy meter is off the charts on this one. Boselli works for Obama, who is destined to go down as the greatest marijuana president of all time after ordering federal stormtroopers to keep their hands off medical marijuana retail stores in 2009. Obama followed up by allowing the explosion of recreational marijuana across 4 states and Washington, D.C. Now, his drug czar says legalization is a bad idea. Here's a CBS News transcript from that interview. And so this is what the interview, what Boselli said. He said Boselli does not believe in aiding another drug to that cocktail with the legalization of marijuana. And so, Scott Pelley, who gave the interview, said, "You're not a fan." And Boselli said, "I'm not a fan. What we've seen, quite honestly, is a dramatic decrease in the precipitation of risk among youth around occasional marijuana use, and they are getting the message that because it's legal, that it is, or there is not harm, or that there is not harm associated with it. So we know that about 1 in 9 people who use marijuana become addicted to marijuana. It's been associated with poor academic performance and exacerbating mental health conditions linked to lower IQ." I don't know that where his research is coming from, because I mean, if we're talking about research on a kid, okay, fine, I agree. You're right. You're absolutely right. But if we're talking about research on adults, you're absolutely wrong. As a matter of fact, I find myself to function quite well, and actually even better in most cases, when I'm a little, stoned. And I find myself to be more temperamental or irritable because I have a slight bit of bipolar there. So, and a little PTS dizzle. And so because of that, I sit back and I go, well, you'd rather have me slam down a cocktail of Xanax and Zoloft and the one that starts with a P that I can't think of right now off the top of my head. Not Percocet for all you pill popping crazies out there, but Prozac. Thank you. There we go. Prozac. And so these drugs, to me, not only are more harmful, not only are more likely to cause long-term addiction. I mean, there's so much more than what a lot of the times we're willing to admit. And that's what scares me. That's what bothers me. Is that at what point do we look at the whole situation and we say, hey, listen now, everything has a risk of addiction. I think that that's more based on the person and less on the drug, if you ask me. Every drug has its problems. Alcohol is a drug. I don't see this guy going to shut down, a liquor store. And so that's kind of my concern is I mean, where are you going to go with this, bro? Because, essentially inquiring minds want to know. And when we come back from the break, we're going to get into this a little bit more. We're also going to, again, talk about the Republican national debate. Don't forget that we'll also be covering a local story here in Florida. Palm Beach County votes to decriminalize pot possession when we come back after the break. I'm the Doc MistaTre, and you're listening to High Tide Stick Radio on YouTube.
Never gonna bring the island straight to the hood. Put your nights on fireflies and black charms. Whatever yellow summer days tonight, we sit for the party like we should. Stand up for your right. Oh, everything will be alright. Oh, in the city we try to boy, no rain, no the fight. But tonight I got set between the toes, not paying no.
You're listening to the Doc MistaTre on YouTube Live. Yeah, I'm a real doctor. Like Dr. Phil's a real doctor, only bald. Well, I guess he's bald too. But sexier. Yeah, definitely sexier. bald, brown, tan, sexier. You're on High Tide Stick with the Doc MistaTre, live Monday through Friday from Tampa Bay. Need ink? Tired of getting shafted by artists that say they know what they're doing and are charging for subsequent work? Then you need the ink crew over at Living Art Tattoo. Living Art Tattoo artists are well trained in the customer experience, and the ultimate goal is just that. Living Art Tattoo is located on Airport and Academy in Colorado Springs. Stop in. It's where integrity matters. That's why their logo and slogan is, yes, it hurts. Tell them the doc sent you and ask for the discounts.
What it do, fatty? Two behind. Do it big. Yeah, gang. Yeah.
Hey, once I started, stayed on my grind. Yeah. Mr. Grit told me don't waste no time. No. Smoking big dope, shit smell like pine. I drive a foreign and the wheels look fine. Niggas boring, his flow is not like mine. Couple hundred just to watch my time. Niggas boring, his flow is not like mine. A couple hundred just to watch my time. Since I was young, I was doing nickels and dollars and the niggas. Ever since they robbed me, trust and believe I was bustin', smoking like a zombie. Zoo game, my niggas and nothing, dice in my G got me. All my niggas got bustin'. Once I started, stayed on my grind. Mr. Grit told me don't waste no time. Smoking big dope, shit smell like pine. I drive a foreign and the wheels look fine. Niggas boring, his flow is not like mine. Couple hundred just to watch my time. Niggas boring, his flow is not like mine. A couple hundred just to watch my time.
Hey, my hood said get you, so fuck you. You, your dead homies, and your pistols. I'm from Gameville. We don't totally get you. The bullets out this bitch sounding like a Russian missile. I've been a real nigga, I just dabble like that. And I be down in Houston, Texas, like I'm rapping like use a cartoon character, Facebook dog, me the Grammy, you an actor. Push the rock, me with no ammo in the gun. I got a top on the way and 100-round drum. The difference between me and you haters is I'm winning. The label left a nigga, I bounce back in the pen.
Once I started, stayed on my grind. Mr. Grit told me don't waste no time. Smoking big dope, shit smell like pine. I drive a foreign and the wheels look fine. Niggas boring, his flow is not like mine. Couple hundred just to watch my time. Niggas boring, his flow is not like mine. A couple hundred just to watch my time.
Hey, I'm in the studio, grinding with no pen and a pad. Now they gave a white nigga money, now you at us mad. Shit, my belly was on E, I can feel the hunger. Ever go broke, I turn your block into a fucking song. I left the West Coast to bring back my street cred. I don't know, I went to the streets, damn. I know where bees live when they think I don't. And I leave a nigga stinking, you think I won't. Expose me to the world, make 2 P's famous. But you won't rub my money, I'm a selling payments. I don't owe nobody nothing that ain't on me. You want a feature, we charging a fuck nigga fee.
Once I started, stayed on my grind. Mr. Grit told me don't waste no time. Smoking big dope, shit smell like pine. I drive a foreign and the wheels look fine. Niggas boring, his flow is not like mine. Couple hundred just to watch my time. Niggas boring, his flow is not like mine. A couple hundred just to watch my time.
Trezona Graphic Design, leading Tampa and Colorado Springs in graphic designs for events, concerts, weddings, businesses, logo design, and more. Contact Trezona LLC at gmail.com. That's TREZONA. Or just find us on Facebook. High Tide Stick is a cannabis content, news, politics, and entertainment show for 21 and up. So do what you always do. Put on your headphones and kick your siblings out of your room. Let's enjoy the show. You're on High Tide Stick with the Doc MistaTre, live from Tampa Bay on YouTube.
I'm the doctor, by the way. What's your name?
Rose.
Nice to meet you, Rose. Run for your life.
Yeah, we are back from break. And interestingly enough, things have come up during the break, mostly my coffee. Gotta have that, let's be real. My kids survived my early adulthood as a dad. There are people alive today because I drink coffee. Oh yeah, it's real. Oh, it's super real. It's serious as hell. I'm not playing around. Before we went to break, we were talking about the article that came out in the PhoenixNewsTimes.com about the new drug czar, the guy that we had heading up the drug policy and etc. Thinks that cannabis legalization is a bad public health policy. And so with that said, Michael Botticelli, did an interview with 60 Minutes, and he was asked a few questions before we went. He was talking about, before we went to break, we were talking about how he had said that marijuana become an addictive problem and this and that. So in 1990, tobacco companies appealed to kids with flavored cigarettes and like Cool Joe Camel. And now nearly a $3 billion marijuana industry promotes sweetened edibles and like foods and buddy this and that, and I don't know. So he's really a very anti-marijuana person. I have to personally say that I'm not so sure that this was the best choice by the president. Because I think that it's contradicting to what he did back in 2009 when he ordered the DEA to stop raiding legitimate cannabis businesses in states where marijuana had become either legal or medical. And so in 2012, recreational marijuana was passed in Colorado, Washington, DC, and of course, like states Oregon followed suit in the matter. And with that said, I think that that's led into a really good opportunity for us to really take a look at this guy. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think he's the right guy for the job, especially on the Democratic side of office. I don't know if this was his I don't know if this was his like Republican, like, here, throw you a bone so you stop busting my balls. I mean, it would kind of appear to be that, but I don't know. I mean, again, this guy to me just, he has me worried. I mean, at this point, how would you not be worried? He's not the guy for the job. If you think he's the guy for the job, message us. We'll share your comments. We always do. It's usually on a later show, but we always share your comments. Unless we can get them right then and there, then we will. I mean, like I said, I check the Twitter feed. I try to see, if there's any new messages or anything on the Twitter feed, or if we've been mentioned in anything. But it's just one of those things where you really have to you have to know like who you're dealing with. Okay, and so in the industry that we live in the industry that we deal in, you might want to know who you're dealing with. You might want to know who you're handling. You might want to know these things. I mean, it's pretty critical, especially in election year. I mean, how are you not concerned? How are you not looking at this? How are you not taking heed to this? How are you not concerned with this? At some point, that has to happen. So as we dabble into the political debate, you know, we were talking about an appointed official that we don't necessarily, when I say we, I mean here, we at High Tide Stick Radio, don't necessarily agree with him. But I mean, there has to come a point where you can't hire somebody that's going to openly contradict a solid foreground that you've built your entire campaign off of. I mean, that just seems ridiculous. Your campaign, you know, like the president was even quoted as saying, if you put the bill on my desk, I'll sign it, talking about removing marijuana from decriminalization / deregulation. Even the president understands that the current marijuana laws and the war on drugs is a stress on the economy. It's a stress on the federal budget. It's a stress on the system. It's a stress on the people, and so on and so forth. And so, you know, we can't keep locking up people for smoking pot. It just seems absolutely ridiculous. It really does. I don't know anybody that would agree to that. I mean, it just seems dumb. I mean, you know, I don't like that. So it's one of those things where this story really bugs me. I mean, it's kind of a little bit under my skin because I'm like, this guy is not the guy for the job. And this is the same situation that we keep running into day in and day out, day after day, week after week, and month after month, as we keep getting people in office that are contradicting or contradictory to the they're contradictory to the cause. You can't order the DEA to stand down and then have somebody who's in charge who's probably going to help ramp up the DEA. You can't continue to ask somebody to go against what he believes. So see, here's the thing: is when it comes to Botticelli, I don't have a problem with the guy. I just don't agree with him. Okay, so my problem is that now he becomes an essence or a force that works against marijuana legislation here in the U.S. And he's appointed by the one guy that has actually stood up for marijuana. It's like, hands down, President Barack Obama will go down as the greatest marijuana president ever because he was the first president to ever tell the feds to back the hell off and leave people alone. So again, concerned, yeah. I don't like the guy. I'm going to be honest with you. I really don't. So last night in the debate, it turned into a heck of a I guess you could call it a scuffle between Jeb Bush and Donald Trump, and a scuffle between Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz. And interestingly enough, if you really want my opinion of the matter, like Ted Cruz and Donald Trump, I'm sorry, Ted Cruz and Donald Trump both wore kid gloves. What that's starting to tell me is that could be we're looking at the possibility of if Trump were to win the primary, or if Cruz were to win the primary, it seems to be that there's probably some underlining like old DC pat on the back. If you lay the fuck up, my guy, then in return, I'm gonna lay the F off you. And to flip that back to you, I'm going to turn around. I'm going to take it easy on you from now on. And one of us, will give the other one a vice presidential bid. I tell you, Cruz Trump ticket scares the hell out of me. I think Trump showed last night he's not the guy for the job. A bunch of zingers, a bunch of one-liners, a bunch of talk-arounds, a bunch of talk, but no real explanation of how you would accomplish these things. Governor Chris Christie sounded like he wanted to start World War III, talking about shooting down Russian planes. Just because we invoke a no-fly zone, just by the way, if you watched the debate last night, I want you to understand that just because we invoke a no-fly zone, if you are not a member of our pack there, of our coalition there, if you are not a member of the Geneva Convention, if you are not a G20 state, if you are not a G7 state, if you are not a G20, G7, like Russia is not part of NATO, if you're not part of NATO, then by all means, why the hell do you have to abide by the no-fly zone? You don't govern me. If you shoot me down, I'll start World War III. I got nukes too, bitch. One of these candidates are at risk of making us look like a fighter who's dodging, real heavyweight contenders. I'm big bad USA. I'm the heavyweight champ in fighting, because no matter how dumb we've gotten in this country, educationally wise, fact, no matter how behind in technology we can fall, the only reason we got it is because we got the money to pay for it. The technology is still coming out of China and cheaper. No matter how far we fall behind that, I promise you, when it comes to just kicking ass, good old USA is the heavyweight champ. The problem is, are we a fight dodger? When we mess with somebody like a North Korea, a China, a Russia, and Iran, that's not part of NATO, the G20, the G7, that's not part of any of these, that if we went to war today with the world, it would most likely be four axes against us. The Allied Nations would be the European grouping, some of North and West Africa, and then the US, South America, North America, for the most part, I would believe would all be on board. We'd have Japan, but we'd lose China. So you see what I'm saying? We're a fight dodger. No, that's not a reflection of the president. That's his job, is to not get us in a major conflict. But I'm just saying, you don't see us getting all bullish, and you don't see these guys talking bullish except Chris Christie to Russia. Why? Because nobody wants to piss off the other guy in the room that can possibly kick your ass. Nobody wants to start World War III except Chris Christie. Big time loser last night in the debate, by the way. Not impressed at all. Not even close to impressed by Christie. I don't think I was supposed to be impressed by him, but I definitely wasn't either way. Really wasn't. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk about, of course, a little bit more of the debate, how Trump and Little Bush got into it. Also, Palm Beach County votes to decriminalize pot possession, all after the break when we get back. And during the third and final segment of the show, we're also going to hit on, of course, Kentucky lawmakers submit bill to legalize statewide cannabis industry. And, of course, the new 2016 pesticide regulations for marijuana could drastically increase Oregon's pot prices. What do you guys think about that? You're on High Tide Sick of the Doc. You're, of course, listening live on YouTube with me, the Doc MistaTre. That's right. I'm not a real doctor, but it's okay. I'm a weed doctor.
sit to each other, boy, no really know the fight. But tonight they got sex between the clothes, not playing no woman in the bride.
High Tide Stick Radio wants to remind you to drive safe when consuming cannabis, or at least do the posted speed limits. I mean, 30 and a 60, get the hell out of my way, man. You're on High Tide Stick Live with the Doc, Monday through Friday, live from Tampa Bay, Florida. Trey Zona LLC and Living Art Tattoo are proud to present the latest mix album by MistaTre, available now on ReverbNation.com. Just go to ReverbNation.com and search MistaTre, and you can download the entire album, She Said Treasy's the Boss, free today. Again, that's ReverbNation.com/MistaTre. Brought to you by Trey Zona LLC, Living Art Tattoo, and Trey Zona Entertainment.
Here goes another one. I do this just for fun. Yeah. Oh no, oh yes, the truth is I am extremely blessed. You scared to death like a flame, walk into a room where chicks undress. Can I get a witness to the fast? So please clean up all the mess. Or is all your wit gone? Maybe less. I guess we can all call you worthless. The only change you want is when you drop those dimes. So bittersweet, change shots with lime. Don't forget about the salt and leave things out. Like Casey Anthony when she committed her crime. Even though you got up like a team being playboy, been brewed like a beer in my carboy. Wait for a moment, stay real for it. Now some fun again, same cardboard. Hope you're ready for your refund, cause this year it's a reality check. You go for it again like the summer when I took all of the screws out of your deck. Look out for go back to Mexico before your life comes more than a wreck. When it's all over, I'ma show you my ass and expect more than a little peck. You close your eyes and hide your knife discreetly behind your back. Without you to slide. Yeah, it was a nice try, but I was ready for your attack. Got the carjack, but you didn't even see that. Hit you in the face like smack. You up on the ground, shaking like a junk. You was need more than a little crack. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I will not stand for what you did to me. You were contraband, cause you were so filthy. And I touch me, you disgust me. Won't be happy till I'm nothing. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I will not stand for what you did to me. You were contraband, cause you were so filthy. Can I touch me, you disgust me. Won't be happy till I'm nothing. Oh no, oh yes, here we are at each other's throats again. I'm shooting flames, you cold as ice, stirring up shit like a whirlwind. We ain't friends, enemies for life, it's that truth is. You were never my wife, and you think you're entitled to every right. There I go again, get close to 25 to life. The football field, put safety back in place. Can I make that great mistake? Even though you're a typical Colorado snake, gotta shoot to my mic and study your face. I would love to suffer that bereavement, cause it would lead to my peace. And PlayStation trophy is one hell of an achievement. Don't get mad at me when I say I mean it. Twice a million feet and drop you in the sea quick. She can die to your favorite thing, semen. When the cops ask where I was that evening, sorry officer, I was here the whole weekend. On a real note, no joke, I will be making moves this summer. Stirring up the pot till it gets real hot and making noise like thunder. Scare you out of the rock you're hiding under. Make you lose your comfort or run for cover. You're so used to using men for your fortune hunger, but I'm coming for your head, bounty hunter. So if you're dead and you're in the same sad situation as me, please raise your hand and feel free to repeat after me. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I will not stand for what you did to me. You were contraband, cause you were so filthy. Can I touch me, you disgust me. Won't be happy till I'm nothing. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I will not stand for what you did to me. You were contraband, cause you were so filthy. Can I touch me, you disgust me. Won't be happy till I'm nothing.
When I wanted to start tattooing my sleeve, I shopped around. I had already experienced a bad tattoo and feared that another one was going to be coming. Another artist claiming to be good. I walked into Living Art Tattoo, and that's not what happened at all. The customer-friendly staff at Living Art Tattoo begin from step one, letting me choose my artist, my day, my time, and most importantly, my artwork. We sat down and they listened to my needs, what I wanted to come of this beautiful art piece that would be with me for the rest of my life. After my experience at Living Art Tattoo, having multiple tattoos done, I wouldn't go anywhere else unless I moved away. I'm just kidding. Living Art Tattoo in Colorado Springs. Set an appointment today by calling 719-578-9688. That's 719-578-9688. Living Art Tattoo, where integrity matters. That's why the slogan is, yes, it hurts. High Tide Stick Radio wants to remind you not to do anything stupid on marijuana. You know, like get busted by your parents, man. Stupid. You're listening to the Doc live on YouTube, Monday through Fridays. This is High Tide Stick Radio.
I'm the doctor, by the way. What's your name?
Rose.
Nice to meet you, Rose. Run for your life.
Yeah. We are back. In effect, live from Tampa, of course. We just got through discussing several different topics. Remember, this show is DVR available, so just go back and listen. I'm not trying to recap it again. We got a lot to get through, and we don't have much time left in the show. By the way, thank you, Disowned, also known as Larry. Disowned, of course, from Colorado Springs. He's made way through Denver. He's currently in North Carolina right now. Charlotte, actually. And good music friend of mine, great recording artist. Doing some big things too. We saw on Facebook. Just want to give you a shout out for that, my brother. Definitely love seeing what you're doing. Always proud of you. We're gonna wrap up the big winners and losers from the debate. But before we get to that, let's talk a little pot right here in Florida. So as we're in the last segment, we're gonna go on the clock. Palm Beach County votes to decriminalize pot possession. Another Florida county has joined Miami-Dade, Hallandale Beach, Key West, and Broward County in decriminalizing marijuana. According to WPTV, the Palm Beach County Commissioners passed a motion 4-1 on Tuesday, making possession of 20 grams of pot or less, which is just under 3/4 of an ounce for all you non-pot smokers out there, less than a civil infraction. Or is a civil infraction. I'm sorry. The ordinance gives police the option to issue a $100 citation rather than arresting the offender. If a person is unable to pay the citation, they will be able to work it off through community service. With the with the measure, it was expected to pass after a preliminary approval by commissioners in October, but the final vote was pushed to December in order to work out the ordinance language. County Commissioner Priscilla Taylor, who originally proposed the measure, explained that decriminalizing the herb would ease jail overcrowding and keep pot possession charges from ruining the lives of otherwise decent, law-abiding citizens. This is from the county commissioner in Palm Beach, by the way. Just saying. Law-abiding, decent citizens, I quote. It just alleviates and elevates to something worse, Taylor explained to the Sun Sentinel about the snowball effect of marijuana arrest. The sole the sole dissenting vote came from Commissioner Hale Valich, who called marijuana a gateway drug back in October. So I wonder what changed his mind more than anything. I mean, I just wonder, just because, you know, like, why did you, I don't know. Like, I wonder what he says now, I guess. I'd like to hear what he has to say now. I mean, this is our backyard. This is right here at home here in Florida. And so this is something that is interesting to me. I want to know, you know, where does he stand on that? You know what I mean? Like, where do you stand on that? How does that so? By the way, story coming courtesy of the Denver Post, by the way, written by and then passed on or revamped by Sativa Von Teese from High Times Magazines. Thank you, Sativa. And now on to the next pot story. Of course, we get back to the debate. Kentucky lawmakers submits bill to legalize statewide cannabis industry. So in an effort to combat the villainous clutches of the alcohol and tobacco lobbyists or lobbies that have been stroking the system for decades to keep the cannabis production in the underground, Democratic Senator Perry Clark has reportedly submitted proposals, a proposal, I should say, that would, and this is going to the state legislation of Kentucky, by the way, in the hopes that he would lead to the end of marijuana prohibition in the bluegrass state. Now, the bill that Clark wrote, it has the steps in it for, excuse me, he put the framework down for this, okay? And he took it to the Capitol building last week in Frankfort, Kentucky. Where even booze remains in the shadow of prohibitionary times. That's a brilliant line, by the way. I just want to borrow that from this article. But anyway, the act is called the Cannabis Freedom Act, and the goal of this act, of course, is to repeal the current laws surrounding the cultivation, possession, and sale of marijuana, and and of course, it's going to impose regulation. Like all things, it's going to impose regulations, and it wants to allow the herb to be considered an herb and handled in the manner similar to alcohol, much like Colorado was trying to do. He did say that, Clark said that, to him, cannabis is much less harmful. It's much less harmful than a lot of things, especially like alcohol and stuff, but it should be treated as alcohol. Even though it is a plant and an herb, it should still be treated like alcohol. The Cannabis Freedom Act is outlined. It outlines tax regulation, the sale of marijuana to adults 21 and older, just like alcohol in Kentucky. It is the same. It's the same discussion that they've been having in this Commonwealth for some time now. Essentially, a piece of legislation would steer Kentucky into the ranks of states like Colorado, Washington, and have a fully legalized marijuana and regulated industry. I say bravo to that, by the way. Good job, you guys out there, because the thing is that you guys have to move forward. If you don't move forward, then you can't move forward. It's that simple. Now, last but not least, in the cannabis news, 2016 pesticide regulation could drastically increase Oregon pot sales. Cannabis testing lab professionals, as well as pot shop owners in Oregon, are predicting that it is likely to spike the cost of medical marijuana prices next year, and it's attributed to the pesticide regulations that are being used and implemented that go into effect in June of 2016, as reported by KTVZ News Channel 21. The Oregon Health Authority, or OHA, released a list of 59 pesticides mandated to be tested for in legal weed in the state. According to staff at pot testing facilities, Canna Analytics in Bend, Oregon, the investment that labs have to make in new equipment to test for the additional pesticides would, as well as the intensive labor hours required for testing, will drive up the prices for cannabis consumers. Not surprised though, but I mean, if anybody didn't see something like this coming, you're kind of blind to the facts. Now, big winners and losers last night. Before we get out of here, we got a couple minutes left in the show. So first off, big losers. I'm going to go with Donald Trump, who looked a little lost at times. He is absolutely oblivious to foreign policy. He has no clue what he's doing or what he's talking about when it comes to foreign policy. And I really think that hurt him tonight. Now, he also failed to take shots at any of his contenders, not any real ones other than Jeb Bush. He seems to be hell-bent to keep the sort of Bush name attached to Bush by continuously attacking George W. or Baby Bush. I call him Baby Bush because he's the little brother. Or Baby Bush. But anyway, the other big loser, besides Donald Trump, was Governor Chris Christie, who threatened to shoot down Russian jets. Dude, you can't threaten another. Listen, when you're an 800-pound, God damn it, Chris Christie, you are an 800-pound gorilla. When there's an 800-pound gorilla in the room with you, bro, you don't pick a fight with it. Why? Because even if you win the fight, it's still going to be an ass kicking, bro. Big time, no. Big time loss. Chris Christie, Donald Trump losing the debate. Now, your big winners, surprisingly, Ted Cruz, who rubbed elbows with Trump, and by doing that, I think is going to help start to pull some of the harder lined Republican base back towards Ted Cruz, because he's a Tea Party member. He is an evangelical type guy. He is a hardline right-wing conservative Christian party member. He's probably rubbing with Trump because he can pull Trump's guys in or be the VP or vice versa. But either way, I think it was a good move, and he wasn't afraid to go after Marco Rubio, who at times looked like he was getting beat up. Although I think he took his beating well, he was a smaller loser than these two, but definitely still a loser in this debate. Now, big winners in this debate, on the contrary, your big winners would be, like I said, Ted Cruz. Your losers got to be Trump, got to be Christie, and then followed by Rubio probably would be the third one. But your big winners are definitely Cruz, and then absolutely Jeb Bush, because he went in there with his campaign on life support, and he had little left to do. He's only polling about 3% nationally as far as how many people are going with him. His donors have no confidence in his ability to bounce back and win this thing. If he were to come back, it'd probably be one of the biggest comebacks ever. I don't even think that Barack Obama in 2008 or 2007 was polling this bad, when Hillary Clinton had the lead with the Democratic Party coming out of the Bush era. So Jeb Bush says, during this tough exchange between these two, he says, if you think this is he's talking to the public, he's like, if you think this is a tough guy, you're not being treated fairly. Imagine what it's going to be like dealing with Putin, or dealing with President Xi, or dealing with the Islamic terrorists that exist, Bush said over Trump's continuous interruptions. And I think that was really a good performance by him, and he stuck up to him. And when Trump pushed, because Trump looked lost, Bush pushed back, and Bush pushed back good. And so when I see that, I got to give it to Jeb Bush, because your campaign is on life support, and by far, first off, and he is nothing like his brother. I can tell you that right now. By far, the only person that has what I would call sensible politics on the RNC ticket, sensible legislation and politics towards immigration, towards the issue of terrorism and taking in refugees. He's the only one that has it. You hear me talking highly about a Republican named Bush, you should be freaking out right now, because I'm almost freaking out right now. I'm talking good about a Bush and a Republican, but that's because he's the only one that has sensible politics that actually can be accomplished. They're not one-liners with no plan like Donald Trump. They're not over-explained ways to screw people out of the American dream. They're not undercuts and cheap shots. They're legitimate policy matters. And why? Because I'll give the God-blessed guy this. Florida got substantially better and out of debt while he was the governor in the story. You can say he's the worst this and that ever. He will go down as profoundly one of the best governors in Florida history. And I did not actually realize that about him. Highly impressed by that, actually. We're going to get out of here. That's our time today. Remember, High Tide Stick loves you. I'm the Doc MistaTre. You know, don't forget to tune in. Tomorrow, we'll have the show for you again. Tomorrow, 7 a.m. on the East Coast, 5 a.m. on the West, 7 a.m. on the East Coast. I don't remember now. I'm like, sometime on the East Coast, sometime on the West Coast, something like that. But anyway, just make sure you stick with us, because like I said, we're going to continue to do what we do. We're going to continue to try to bring you the legislation and news out of this. Remember, your opinions matter here, so please reach out to us. You can always message us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all those wonderful things. Before we get out of here, don't let me forget to do that. So other than that, we're going to, bid you guys adieu, as they say in French, and we're going to get out of here. We love you guys. Love, peace, and chicken grease. I'm out, the Doc MistaTre. Hot Toxic, sucker, fish. Shout out to the Speakeasy Vape Lounge. Living on Tattoo, Montgomery LTD, and of course, us right over here at Trezona LLC. Holla at your boy. Don't forget to go to Reverb Nation. Download my music. Peace! High Tide Stick Radio is a cannabis content, news, politics, and entertainment show and station for 21 and up. So do what you always do. Kick your siblings out of the room, throw in your headphones, and get lost with us on High Tide Stick. You've been listening to the Doc live every Monday through Friday, weekdays, right here on High Tide Stick Radio.
Yama, we wrote this so she know how we feel so real. No Jamaican, me done one Puerto Rican #1 son. Spread joy for the world, all for one man. Yeah man, we smoke all day, so go God's man. Don't never surrender, me can't song wrong. Sammy between my toes, feel so good. They never gonna bring the island straight to the hood. But tonight's born fireflies and black charms. Whatever now, summer days tonight we sit to party like we should. Stand up for your right. Oh, everything will be alright. Oh, no. In the city we try to boy, no they know the fight. Hey, but tonight I got set between the clothes, my bed, no woman, no pride. You plead to the nation that have hate for Dominican and Haitian, Puerto Ricans, Cubanos, Yaman. Money from the American nation, don't play poppy or replace. And for the one know it could be the chosen next Mason. We could be a mix, we can't even be replacing. Keep warm to watch this being in hands and it's racing. Like the tsunami, one of a kind you're tracing. You can't take like the foundations of the world more than history pages. Tonight's about peace, no, we get activity raging. No one service occasion, the mulattoes on occasions. Embrace the moment, get tonight the shots that raise you over, not drunk, no crazy. Stand up for your right. Oh, everything will be alright. Oh, in the city we try to one more to fight. Hey, but tonight I got sandwich when the clothes my bed, no home and no play. If you black, white, Asian, Caribbean, or Spanish, tonight let's enjoy the summer night, let the hate down honestly vanish. Let's be more like the real cast piece and I put it on my damn head. Chill out, roll that one and let's talk about why we blowing cannabis. I'm just saying we can be praying on deep meditation. Thinking to deeper focus on the negative and the generating. So much pain when it can be us winning, hell yeah, celebrating. No pain we family only mercy tonight, we're dead to hating. One love we king till the day. Oh, me born a king, we one long after we die. No lie, no lie. Raise the bottle. 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 Take the devil with you, baby. Raise the bottle. With nothing. Do you know how me feel now, mama? Yama. We wrote this so she knows.